Warning, if you skip this forecast, March will feel harder than it needs to. March is a four universal month, and that means no more shortcuts, no more I'll do it later. This is a month of structure, discipline, and realignment. The work you avoid now becomes the delay that you can experience later. But the work you commit to now, that becomes stability, your foundation for the rest of 2026. Every year has that one month that determines whether you stabilize or struggle. March is that month for us. This is where you either build or get exposed. But don't worry. In this video, myself and astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn is going to break it all down for you. We're going to tell you what the four energy actually wants of you and where people will feel pressure and how to turn this into growth instead of burnout. We're going to let you know what you can expect by zodiac sign for the month of March. Help me welcome my guest, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. Hello, Lloyd. Happy March.
Hi, Kimbaley, and happy March to you.
How are you doing?
I am doing fine. It is good to join you again for our 27th, I do believe, continuous recordings of our monthly forecast.
You are a numbers person because you always keep up with the numbers.
Yeah, that's my job. That's my job.
So, how was February for you?
Well, February, I was in a kind of reflective year. I mean, a reflective month, I should say. And it did allow me to kind of question some of the things I was going through and why. And it was just very interesting. It was kind of like therapeutic in a sense, you know? And
Yeah,
you?
you said February was an interesting year. That means February was long for you.
Yeah, yeah. It was my birthday month. Um, my family treated me very nicely. My sister, brother-in-law, my kids. It was just kind of nice.
I'm glad
And
you had a happy birthday. You deserve it.
thank you. Thank you very much. And what
You're
about
welcome.
your February?
It was good. January came in and it was slow, which, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But February took on a whole new tone. February kind of got a little busy. I wasn't expecting it, but hey, we made it through. So everything was pretty good. We had a lot going on in February, and we have a lot going on in March too. We started our Mercury retrograde in February,
Yeah.
and we had our solar eclipse in
Yeah.
in February, and now on March 3rd, we're about to welcome the lunar eclipse in Virgo. What you think
Yes, and
about that?
I think it's nice. I think it's very interesting, and because it's lunar, it means it deals with people's feelings and emotions. So when they talk about what people are into their feelings, it makes sense. And one more thing we omitted in February, which was the Chinese New Year, which is the year of the fire horse. So for those horses out there in the stables and in the pastures, happy Chinese New Year's to you too.
Yeah, and I don't know how I skipped that one because a lot of people were talking about um, the 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 Chinese New Year,
Hmm.
and it's pretty interesting. A lot of people had different thoughts about it. And I heard a lot about the fire horse and maybe even go in and look up what my Chinese zodiac sign was.
Well, you are a ram, a sheep, or a goat, all depending on how they refer to it.
Yeah. So what's the difference between the ram, the sheep, and the goat?
I don't know, and I don't know why they call them all three, but in your case, being a Leo, I'd rather call you a ram than a sheep.
It was confusing to me because one year I looked it up and it said that I was a goat. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
hey, I'm the
Yeah.
goat. I'm the
Yeah.
goat.
Yeah.
But I looked it up this year and it said that I'm a sheep. And I'm like,
And
eh?
then next year you'll be a ram then if that's the case, you know?
It just keeps changing. I
That's
can't keep
about the
up with
only
it.
Chinese symbol, and it is, by the way, the seventh symbol in the Chinese horoscope. It's the
Mm,
seventh sign. Then next is monkey. That's the eighth.
you know what's interesting to me? When I read up on the sheep, when I found out I was a sheep, I noticed that the sheep, the description of the sheep sounded a lot like my birthday number.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of interesting. That lets us know that all of these sciences kind of merge and come together,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of intertwine with each other.
But the one thing about your Chinese symbol is that's the only one with their three different characteristics: sheep, goat, ram. With the snake is just a snake, a horse is just a horse, a monkey is just a monkey. You know what I'm saying? It don't have yours is the only one that has three kind of descriptions, all depending on which Chinese horoscope you read or how it's interpreted. So I wanted to have some personalities. At least you're the only one.
Well, that sounds a lot like the 4, doesn't it? Speaking of the 4, we better get it in order, everybody. This month is a 4 month. What
Yes.
can we expect?
Now, first of all, let's give the backstory of how we arrived at this conclusion. What we did was we took 2026 and added it to the third calendar month, which is now for March, and that added the 13, and 1 plus 3 is 4. So March 2026 is a 4 universal month. So this is a month to establish routine. It's a month to establish work ethics. It's definitely a month to set some boundaries, okay? And it's definitely a month of reliability. In other words, just be reliable. The month will favor Aquarians, thank you, Leos, and Geminis. Those would be the favorite this particular month. Don't worry, everybody gets a chance. Next month, it'll be somebody else's turn. But right now, it's Aquarius, it's Leo, it's Gemini for the month of March. Or if your person numerically is born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 28th, or the 31st of the month. So anybody that's got a combination, you,
Yay!
you are so obvious.
Keep going. Come on, this is getting
Now,
good.
on the reverse, those under the signs of Capricorn, bless their souls, in Taurus and Libra, or if they're born on the 6th, the 15th, and the 24th, will find this more of a bump in the road, so to speak. That's the term I use. In what we do, people think it's like bad or sinister. No, it's just we have highs and lows. So I've learned how to use this, I'll say, to Capricorns and Tauruses and Libras and number 6 people. This is a more cautionary month. It's a more bump in the road month. So, when you're on a highway and things are going smooth, and then when things are bumpy, well, for those 3 signs and those dates of birth, it'll be a little bit more bumpy, shall we say. And it's not that you can't get things done, but I will say this. Since last month on the 25th of February into this month up until the 20th of March, Mercury is retrograde. Now, Mercury rules communications for those that may not be familiar with it. It's always 3 times in the year. So the first one started last month on the 25th. The second will start, they're all under water signs this year. So it started under Pisces. Then the next will start on June the 29th under Cancer. And then the third one will start on October the 24th under Leo. So those are the 3. And it always lasts for a period of about 21 days, give or take a day or 2.
You know
Okay.
what's interesting? Last month, and now it's all making sense. Last month, we saw, oh, well, we saw and heard a lot in the media that affected us on a global scale. And now that I think about it, there were 2 things that came into play. Last month was the 12/3 universal month. And
Hmm.
so in the 3 cycle, you have to be careful of scandal. There was a lot of scandal out
Oh,
there.
no question. Throughout
There
the
was a
entire
lot
month
of
of
stuff
February.
in the news. And
Hmm.
not only that, Mercury retrograde began. And so a lot of this stuff was being dug back up because this wasn't new stuff, stuff that just happened. Of course, it was new to us because nobody was sharing it with us.
Hmm.
But now that Mercury retrograde kind of brought those things up to the surface. So, what can we expect in this four universal month with all that's going on now? We heard wars, and now this sounds like the Bible prophecy, wars and rumors of wars and all kinds of stuff. So, what's going to happen in March?
Well, it's very interesting because of somebody I follow that does a business analysis with the weekly breakdown. I decided to add another first to what we do, which is give the weeks in March that are favorable for everybody and for the world in general. So this first week of March from the 1st to the 7th is about dramatic changes, changes for the better. So those who are Geminis and Virgos, they will be the beneficiaries, or if they're born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month. But the first week leads to opportunities. It is the second week that concerns me because it's a Venus week. So we're going to have a Venus-Uranus opposition, which means for those under Libra and Taurus and 6th, 15th, or 24th, it's going to be a really crazy week. Now, 6 normally is a favorite, or the week is favored with peace or whatever. So to the negative, and especially with things on edge, they're talking about the United States want to go with this, to go to war with this country, or this country want to go to. I mean, it's just crazy. And so you're going to find that things are going to be more exaggerated from the 8th to the 14th. On the third week of March, from the 21st to the end of the month, I mean, from the 15th to the 21st, I should say, the third week, things are going to more quiet down a bit. People are going to kind of say, okay, let's calm down. It's not that serious. Y'all take it easy, okay? It's like that. But there's going to be a lot of revelation. A lot of things that have been kind of hidden will come to the surface. No question about it. Then in the last week of March, and first of all, by the last week, we'll finally end retrograde because it ends on the 20th of March. So from the 21st to the end of the month, which is 31 days in the month of March, things are going to be focusing on people's finances, people's living conditions, and things of that nature. So it's going to be things. So people should check their bank accounts what I've noticed since the beginning of the year, there's so many kind of scams. It's one thing to the phone. You got to be careful sticking your card in these machines. The ATM machines, especially gas stations. Gas stations, I think, is about the worst of them. So you got to be a little bit more mindful, but people are going to be talking about their budget. But overall, this is the month of March. It says everybody need to get their house in order. Everybody needs to have a plan, a strategy, or an exit. So if this is not working, let that be working. So that's how that's going to be for the month of March. Now, one of the things about the 4, in this case of March, 4 always means you got to put in the work. So if you think it's about freebies, for those who have a freebie mindset, you will be disappointed this particular month. But the point is, what you put in is what you get back. That's the kind of energy that the 4 brings out. So yes, you might put your shoulders to the wheel. Yes, you might work up a sweat. Yeah, you might say, phew, but what you put in is what you get back. So for those of you who are used to just propping their feet up on the couch or whatever, and just saying, okay, and putting their hands behind their back, everything is cool, they're going to be in for a rude awakening this particular month of March. That's for sure.
Oh man.
Yes, it is. What you going to do? Now, we also do the Almanac too. Um, so, for example, to buy a car, that will be on the 4th, the 12th, the 14th, the 23rd, the 30th, and the 31st. Now, because Mercury is retrograde, it normally represents things that affects electronics, cars, computers, phones, gadgets, gizmos, and stuff like that. So if a person is going to buy a car, I would recommend that although you've got these dates like the 4th, the 12th, the 13th, the 23rd, the 30th, I would wait to around about the 30th or the 31st, around the last 2 days of the month. If you need a car, you do the best you can, but double check everything. So instead of just buying the car and driving it off the lot, test drive the car first. Okay? Car that you're going to get, test drive it first to make sure that everything is in working order. Because as you know, as soon as you pay for it and own it and drive it off the lot, everything is on you. Okay, so just test drive everything. Now, if you want to start a business, that'll be around the 22nd and the 30th. So since Mercury will be in retrograde on the 22nd, I'd wait to start it on the 30th. And then they should consult your business planner too. That will help them very much. Now, to break a habit, as you know, it's interesting because Mercury is always 21 days. To break a habit is 21 days. To start a habit is 21 days. So it's going to be on the 12th, the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th of this month for those who are interested in breaking a habit, whether they feel it's beneficial, whether they feel it's kind of like really not to anybody's best interest. Now, for electronics, there are no ideal dates. And that makes sense to me with Mercury being in retrograde because Mercury has influence over communications, writing, electronics, travel, all those kinds of things. Now, let's say somebody wants to grow their hair so it's real, real long. Well, the 21st, the 24th, and the 27th of the month is going to be ideal. But now, just say the reverse. Somebody's hair's long and they want to kind of cut it back and slow down the growth a bit. That would be anywhere from March the 9th through the 13th, followed by the 17th and 18th of the month. Now, finally, asking for a loan. Well, I tell you this, the best days to ask for a loan would be on the 1st and the 2nd, followed by the 21st, the 23rd, along with the 27th and 28th. So since Mercury's in retrograde, I tell you to wait until after the 20th, because don't forget, Mercury began on the 25th of last month in February and will end on the 20th of this month in March. So for those that want to, here's what I'm saying. Let's say you're going to borrow money. Well, there may be a catch. Well, we need to see some additional paper and we need to see your tax return. And you know what I'm saying? So other things that will come up into it that normally is not, but they'll find that after the 20th, everything will return to the normal process of asking for a loan, all depending on whether it's a personal loan, of course, a business loan, even more so, things of that nature. So that is the essence of March in this way. And then, and because we are in the sign of Pisces, so hi to all the Pisces in the house, you guys are the first ones we're going to read this particular month. You know what I'm saying? I know the Pisces are saying, boy, it is about time up in here. All righty. So, any
That they are.
questions? Yep.
Oh, no, I just wanted to add to the conversation. I expect that because Mercury is retrograde in this month, and this is a 4 universal month, I expect that there will be a lot of issues, more so this month than it was last month, with the tech glitches and things like that. And also, I wanted to, week two, because no, week one, you'll feel a strong, probably feel a strong influence on that Mercury retrograde, because that'll be a 5 weeks
Exactly.
and it rules
Exactly.
Mercury. And also, I wanted to go back to what you talked about the 8 week and talking about scamming. Um, that probably would be a time for you to pay attention to things a little bit more cautiously, because by this month being ruled by Uranus and that 8 energy is there, then that means finances can go either way for you. So those are some things that you need to watch out for as far as scammers, and just making sure that you're paying attention to your finances during that time. But other than that, that's all I got.
But let me add to this too, because the last week is going to be Legacy Week, according to this month of March, which means seniors. I saw something the other day where they have this thing with the elders that you'll get this blue card that gives you $1,500 to go buy food and whatnot, right? And you got 2 minutes to call this number. And when you call the number, what will happen is they'll take you through a whole process, and then they'll tell you you're eligible for this, you're eligible for that. Do you have your red, black and white, green card, or blue, red, blue, and white, whatever card that is, the Medicaid card? Okay. And if you got it, and then they check it all for you. And then they say, now this is your plan. But what they're doing is they're switching you from one health provider unbeknownst to another health provider. And one of my clients told me, they said, now one, I think was not the call, well, I'll call it Health First, right? Well, their OTC, which is over the counter purchases of whatever you a elder might need or persons on that would need, you can get. But with this one, they says, well, you could get it for $20. And I'm saying, yeah, so what I'm saying is that people have to really be on their toes. The elders are more subject to it because the elders are not as more sophisticated with this technology, the AI and whatnot like that. So I'm not talking. So a person may say, well, I'm not an elder, but you may have a elderly parent, a mother,
Yeah,
a father, a grandmother, an
of
auntie, or
course.
uncle. And so don't forget, one day you will fill their places too. So you have to just be mindful. And the middle age group and the young group are not immune from it too.
Yeah,
They're
because things are so advanced now. Things are so advanced. Here, one of the things that they do is they go around knocking door to door and they'll say, sign over to our energy company and we can save you money. And what happens is before you know it, you're paying double what you were paying in the first place.
But
So
see, they're
no,
not lying. They're not lying. You will save you money right now, but a month or two from now, you got to. And by the way, since before we start into the sign, since this is a 4 month, the rule this month for everybody is pay yourself first, because for the cycle that we're in this month is about efficiency. Okay, practicality. So make sure you pay yourself first. The normal inclination, we get our checks or whatever the case is, we pay our bills, we pay the rent or mortgage, we buy the phone, the
don't
electric,
forget
all
your
that stuff.
tithes.
The who?
Your tithes
Oh
for
yeah,
church.
yeah. Well, yes, that's right. And in fact,
The ten
you
percent gotta come off the
you
top.
actually got some churches that will say if you have not tithed enough, you ain't in good grace. And I didn't think that that was the whole purpose of going to a house of worship, is based upon that. And there have been things about that too. And speaking of scams, did you know at one point in history and even recently within the last maybe 100 years that you could buy a plot in heaven? Yes, yes. I had a guest on, Reverend Brandon Smith, and he told me that at one point that they'll say, "Man, you want a piece in heaven? It's gonna cost you about $1,000." You know. Now,
So let me
listen,
ask
you
you
talk
this
about the
question.
pie in
Hold
the
it,
sky.
hold it, hold it, hold it. So what if said person buys that plot in heaven and they go in the opposite direction?
Amen. Amen. I was going to say the same thing. Suppose you can't get through the pearly gates, okay? Then what you going to do? What you going to take your property and say, okay, well, let me get my plot and go the other way. I'll go down here, okay?
You don't pay your tithes, you're not gonna get it.
And in fact, there have been actually some instances, real talk, where if people didn't pay tithe enough, the church wouldn't do their eulogy. They wouldn't do their funeral. I'm serious. And they will let them know, well, Mr. Jones, you know, you failed to tithe this particular year. So we're not going to, honor your grandmother, honor your mother, honor your wife, or whatever the case is. So churches become a business too. Rather than, I know there's some people in the faith that's going to have problems with that, but why do they ask for money every Sunday? I don't ever
No, but
remember
it's
God saying I
true.
need money.
It's true. It's proven because, in some churches, yeah, you may be elected in these positions, but in a lot of churches, one church I know for sure, you had to apply. You had to have resume. And once you got in, you got perks such as vacation time. You get your laptop and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's a business. But
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
what? We're in a 4 universal month. I know all about it. Time to put boundaries up. Don't
and
answer the
and that's
door.
one of the themes when you talk
Yeah.
about it. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. But again, I want to remind everybody who is listening to the sound of our voice. The cycle that we're in says what you put in is what you get back. If you don't put anything into it, you don't put any skin in the game, then don't expect anything back. So therefore it can't be said we did not have this conversation. Okay.
Can't be sad.
Now with that, let us start with for all the Pisces in the house. Okay. So here we go. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Pisces, your theme this month is about solitude, self-analysis, getting away from the drama of everything, to kind of be left alone, to hear yourself think. So this is for all you Pisces, this is a very important period. Now, you may have plans, but don't forget, through no fault of your own, Mercury is retrograde in much of your birthday month up until the 20th of this month of March. So in the meantime, here's what it's saying for you. You say you're going to do something, make sure you follow it. Don't just assume, well, you know what I mean. It's not going to work that way. Because of the cycle you're in, there's likely to be some misunderstandings anyway. The fact that you want to lay back, people might misinterpret that you're trying to hide something or keep something away from them, especially in the first week, because the moon is going to be in your stress sign, in the sign of Virgo on the 3rd and the 4th of the month. So even just the first week coming out the gate, there might be some resistance or misunderstanding about your monies, where it's coming, how it's going, this, that, and the other. So just be mindful in that very first week. As you go into the second week, though, from the 8th through the 14th, that's going to allow you to kind of decide what you're going to do in terms of closure, in terms of terminating things, in terms of putting things aside that you no longer need in your life at this point. It's going to be a time that you're going to say, all right, I need to fulfill something, but at the same time, things that are not any beneficial, to learn how to let it go. I will say this too, there's a possible chance for a opportunity to travel or go somewhere by plane or train or whatever, but whatever you do, double check everything, since Mercury is in retrograde in your sign. Now, the blessing comes in the third week. That's from the 15th to the 21st. So around about the 17th and the 18th, when the moon is sitting in your sign for the month, that's when you really, really kick it. That's going to be the time that's going to be best for you to kind of like start anew, start fresh. You be more energized. You're more proactive about getting things done and moving it, starting an enterprise or whatever the case may be. And you're going to be making your own decisions. So you're likely to be known for your frankness and your honesty. Now, as you close out the month of March, by this time, from the 22nd to the end of the month, Mercury will have passed, but Mercury still has what is called a shadow effect. So you're not quite out of the woods. Although it officially ends on the 20th, it will still linger a little bit. And into that last week of the 22nd to the end of the month, it means, yes, be patient, don't rush, take your time. And not only that, but when Mercury is retrograde, excuse me, I should say, and then those last 2 days of the month of March, the moon will be in your opposition sign again of Virgo. So it's just kind of crazy. So just be patient, and that's how it is. Now, who is likely to be of help to you this particular month will be Cancers and other Pisces, thank you, or they will be born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, the 25th, or the 29th of the month. The color to wear this particular month is indigo. Okay, it's a beautiful, beautiful shade of purple, lavender, call it what you will. And the stone to wear or crystal to carry over and above shungite is fluorite. Okay, and that is it for them. Now, what about Aries? Okay, see, Aries, it didn't take too long to get back to you. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Aries, your theme this particular month is about purpose, having a sense of order, a sense of direction, to know why you're doing what you're doing, what your intentions are. And not only that, it's going to be a period whereby it's about laying the foundation to anything worthwhile anyway, the entire month. Because don't forget, by the end of the month of March, we'll be leading into your sign. And so although we'll be entering your sign officially on the 21st of March, there will still be that retrograde effect. So make sure that you stay on point, and especially in the 5th and the 6th, because the moon is going to be sitting in your stress sign of Libra anyway. So it simply means that whatever you make a change, make sure you double check everything. And since you'll be in a period that governs the period that governs Mercury, which is retrograde, don't assume, don't just say, and also plan things out in advance. Leave early for an appointment, even though you know you can get there in plenty of time. You take your time and make sure you got wiggle room. I'd rather you there early than late. Now, in the second week from the 8th to the 14th, that's going to be a week that deals with home and family and relationship and education and things of that nature, where it allows you to kind of make adjustments where necessary, and either the home or at work, or adjustments within yourself too. That's going to be more important. And you should think of yourself as being a kind of like, shall we say, a work in progress. And the third week, from the 15th to the 21st, the moon is going to be sitting in your sign on the 19th and 20th. But that's going to be a week where you're going to want to say, I need to lay back and ask myself, honestly, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I dealing with you? Why am I dealing with this situation? Because the whole period of this month for you, Aries, is about making sure you have a sense of order. And again, back to the theme of purpose and direction for what you want to do. Going into the last week from the 22nd to the end of the month, you will be in a business cycle, which is perfect for all, all Aries. So you'll find around the last Saturday or somewhere around the 26th of the month, give or take or two, that's going to work very, very well for you. Now, who is likely to be of help to you during this month of March? Aries will be Aquarius and Leos and Geminis, or anybody born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, the 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. The color to wear this particular month, Aries, is mahogany, all right? And the stone or crystal to wear or carry over and above shungite is jade. Now, Taurus, I know you Tauruses have been waiting. Here you go. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Taurus, your theme this month is about drive, to have a self-direction, to let no one deter you from your mission. That once you hit that highway, you go at top speed. Not that you run over anybody or run into cars. But the point is to be self-motivated. And the reason why I say it, because Taurus is known as a slow, stubborn sign. That's to that side. You know, we always got a positive, a yin and a yang, so to speak. Well, Tauruses can known to be slow. But this year, this particular month, Tauruses, y'all got to pick up your game. Y'all got to be more swifter and on the ball. And the fact that allows you to begin to take initiative about doing things and being more proactive. And actually, if you ever needed to get started, because normally March is a friendly month to the sign of Taurus anyway, this allows those of you to want to seek a raise, seek a job, better work conditions, go out on your own, step out on faith. This is your month to do so. Now, although the very first week says it may not start out like that, it may start slow, but take advantage of that first week from the 1st through the 7th to gain the details, to get all the little pieces in a row and things of that nature. Because as you go into the second week from the 8th through the 14th, you just have to be careful from the 7th to the 9th. And in fact, to begin to overextend yourself, not take things too much for granted, and make sure that whatever you're saying, because you'll be in a period that governs the spoken word, you'll also be in a period which deals with scandals and schemes. So be very careful about what you sign or associate your name with, okay? Sometimes people want you to join this and that, and you might wind up just being in a jam yourself. That you don't want to do. That's the last thing on that. Now, however, as you go into the third week of the 15th to the 21st, things become better because now around the 21st to the 22nd and 3rd, the moon is sitting in your sign. So it's going to allow you to tighten up your act, get everything together. And especially for those of you who are enterprising Tauruses this particular month, where you want to say, okay, I need to start a business. I need to start something I can call my own in case people act a fool out here. And, you know, with jobs and situations, for people that know, you will be able to be in a better position to do that. Now, as you go into the final week from the 22nd to the end of the month, it's going to allow for a change, a breath of fresh air to begin to kind of clean things out, begin to be moving with more freedom and flexibility to come and go as you please. So it's going to be good. Now, who is likely to be of help to you during this month of March? Taurus will be Leos, Aquarians, Aries, or they'll be born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th to 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. Now, your color to wear this particular month, Taurus, is peach. And the stone to wear or crystal to wear or carry over and above shungite is obsidian. Okay. Okay, Geminis. All right. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Gemini, your theme this month is very simple. It is about closure. Okay. It is about kind of letting go once and for all, you know, and it's easy for Geminis anyway. But here's the thing that's so interesting about this. Gemini happens to rule Mercury, and Mercury, your planetary ruler, is in the sign of retrograde right now. So don't expect things to go as much as you might expect. And because you're in a cycle that is governed by Mars, Mars is the strong aspect affecting your sign this particular month. That means definitely avoid arguments at all costs. I don't care what somebody says. And, sometimes Geminis don't have no patience. It would be to your advantage, especially in the first week, to exercise all the patience you can possibly muster. It would definitely be in that way to avoid hassles, stress, confrontations, conflicts, anything that brings it up. Because what you want to do in this first week is start something new with your life. Take advantage of. And so, for example, the cycle is saying for you this month, it's about endings and let it go. So if you want to know when to start, this first week is ideal to kind of, okay, I'm going to start to cut my losses, cut people loose, cut bad habits or anything that's not in your best interest. As you go into the second week from the 8th to the 14th, now you just got to be a little patient. And so because you're in a Mars month with a Cancer or Moon week, there's a Mars-Moon conflict. So it simply means you got to be a little careful about how you wheeling and dealing. And it don't help in the 8th through the 14th because on the 10th and 11th, the moon is going to be in your opposition sign of Sagittarius anyway. So that's not going to help you at all. But when you have an understanding, you don't let people get your goat. You don't let people kind of pluck a nerve, so to speak, where then you have regrets that, you know what, if I only taken a moment and slowed it down and be patient, it would have made all the difference in the world. Now, going into the third week, that's the 15th to the 21st. That's when things are going to be a little bit more excited. You're going to have this creative urge about you. You're going to be more expressive and articulate about things. You're going to be one of more sociable and dynamic. And by the way, that's when Mercury retrograde, the planetary ruler of your sign, will begin to lose its resistance. And Mercury retrograde simply means things are just slowed down, okay? And so things will begin to pick up back to normal. And so it's great for you because in the tail end of the month, from the 22nd to the end of the month, when Mercury is finished retrograde and now is direct, as they call it, the 24th and the 25th, when the moon is in your sign, man, Geminis, you should be at your absolute best. Nobody can tell you too much of anything as far as you're concerned, okay? It's going to be like that for the most part. Now, the signs that are likely to be of help to you, Geminis, are Aries, Scorpio, in a minor way, Leo, or people born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. The color that you should wear this particular month, Gemini, is burgundy. And the stone or crystal you should wear or carry over and above shungite should be a ruby. All righty? So that's going to be good for you. All right, my Cancer friends. For those, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Cancer, your theme this month is about nurturing, family, unity, harmony, things of that. And this is perfect for Cancers because Cancer is the mothering sign of the Zodiac anyway. So you will be in your natural element in that sense to be more of a friendly unit to people, not of a conflict, not of drama, but to bring and establish much harmony and bring a nurturing kind of attitude into the situation. It is going to be a month of responsibilities and obligations, so you can't get around that. But that first week is saying, okay, the first obligation or responsibilities I need to be to myself. Am I responsible to myself? Am I responsible to my own actions and things of that nature? That's going to be extremely important, how you roll out the gate in the first week of the month of March. Going into the second week from the 8th to the 14th, however, that indicates you'll be going through a financial kind of situation where you're going to need to be mindful, especially on the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, when the moon is sitting in your direct opposition sign of Capricorn. So it just simply means to watch how your money flows in and goes out, things of that nature. Make sure that you don't commit yourself and especially sign any contracts with Mercury being retrograde in this month up until the 20th anyway, because you'll be in a legacy week. You'll be in a week that deals with documents, insurance, and legal papers. And so it means to not kind of jump into things, but if you must, first of all, make sure you double check. For those of you who can, maybe it'd be good to get some legal advice before you kind of put your name on the dotted line too. Now, as it relates to the third week, And the third week, it indicates there's going to be a sense of finality to a situation, but also what's going to be happening for those of you Cancers out there that has so much of a creative, artistic, and imaginative streak. You may find, I would encourage those of you, especially with those leanings, to kind of take up a musical instrument, crocheting, painting, maybe singing, you're going out dancing. Those things are going to be very important, and it's going to be a nice outlet for you too. But at the same time, if there's been anything affecting your family, an obligation that you feel has outworn its usefulness, that's the time to cut your losses right there in that third week from the 15th to the 21st. However, as you go into that final week, especially on the 26th and 27th, that's going to be the week that's going to allow you to start new, start all over again, minus all the drama that you've gone through, putting things aside, and especially with new relationships, new obligations, new responsibilities, and things of that nature too. Now, who is going to be of help to you, Cancers, will be those under the signs of Taurus and Libra, or born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month. And the color, I should say, that you should wear is mint. That is going to be the color, and the stone you should wear or carry over and above shungite is Hiddenite, Hiddenite. That's Hiddenite, Hiddenite, okay? Now, for Leos, if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Leo, your theme this month is about adventure, to take risks, to take chances. Now, there's a couple of ways of looking at adventure. Adventure means going out on a hike, going through the woods, jogging or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Adventure also means taking a risk, taking a chance. But for Leos, it's about if you must take that risk, you take calculated risk. You just don't get out there and say, oh man, I should have looked at this. No, it don't work that way. But you're going to see that things are going to be happening, especially in the first week, because the first 2 days coming into the month of March, the moon is going to be in your sign. You have that rarity that the moon will be in your sign 2 times this month at the last 2 days of the year and near the very end of the month, which we'll get to in a few moments. But right now, this first week is saying there need to be changes in my house, changes in relationship, changes in anything that affects your home, your obligations, and your health. That's going to be very, very important. As you go into the second week from the 8th through the 14th, that's when you're going to want to be laid back. That's when you're going to say, you know what? I don't want to be bothered with nobody up in here. I just want to be left alone, to hear myself think, to work things out, to talk to myself if I need to, and no people thinking something's wrong with me, but just be alone. And in fact, for those of you, it would be a good time to meditate. But don't forget, with the month that you're in is a week that governs the Mercury influence. And since Mercury's retrograde, it simply means that what's ever happening, expect it to kind of like not go as swift as you might want it. And so since Leo is a sign of action and whatnot, it just simply means more slow it down pretty much. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities coming your way. You're just going to have to pick and choose very carefully. And that second week is going to allow you to kind of lay back and figure out what's going on. Now, the third week is going to be the week that governs things of a financial nature, okay? And especially around the 15th and the 16th, when the moon is sitting in your direct opposition sign of Aquarius. So that simply means for you that you're going to have to be at a point whereby you can assume that things are going to be happening with finances. Check everything carefully. Be very, very open to anything that I feel. Don't forget, as we were talking at the beginning of this podcast, that there have been a lot of schemes that are happening now left and right. Elderly, middle age, young age. They are not discriminating in any way they can get your money, but they're targeting the elderly because they're the ones that have had the most money. They're the one that over these decades of time have accumulated the most resources. And those are the ones that go after first. But don't think they leave you pre-elderly or those that are very young for out of the picture too. They're just going for them first because they know those are the ones that saved up their monies, invested in this, that, and the other, and they're more subject to it. But in your case, financially, from the 18th to from the 15th to the 21st, and since you'll be in that 8 in Mercury's retrograde, be very, very careful how you spend your money. and who you share money with. And I would advise you definitely don't loan no money out to anybody at all during that period. I don't care how nice they sound or how, because Leo's got a big heart. My sister's a Leo. I'm here to testify with that. And so you can't let your heart overrule your mind in that third week. That's not going to be the best advice, especially with Mercury sitting in your opposition sign those 2 days of the 15th and the 16th. But finally, though, in the last week, you'll be in a cycle that allows you to get some space, to travel, to bring some closure to some matters, and yet fulfill some of the things you've been wanting to do. Because the moon will be sitting in your sign again, Leo, on the 28th and the 29th, just as you close out the month. And the beautiful part is you'll be out of the retrograde period that ended officially on the 20th of the month. So you will find it much to your advantage to do just that. Now, who is likely to be of help to you during this month of March will be Geminis, Virgos, and Aquarians, as well as anybody born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month. Now, the color you should wear for you this month, Leo, is azure, Azure. And the stone you should wear or carry over and above shungite is smithonite, Smithonite, smithonite. I hope I'm saying it right. It's a stone, believe me, it is. I'm not making this up. You can look it up for yourself. Anyway, so now for Virgos. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Virgo, your theme is forgiveness, to transcend any bad feelings, to let things go in a sense, to kind of like say, okay, sometimes when you hold on to things that eat you inside, well, Virgo is the sign that rules the stomach and digestion anyway. And what you don't want to do is wind up with a bad stomach because you just failed. I'm just going to hold my grudge against so-and-so all the month long. And not only that, Virgos, Pisces is your opposition time of the year anyway. So you know how you got the cycles? Well, for all Virgos, y'all will be at the bottom of the bell curve around about this time. So it behooves you to really exercise forgiveness, not, well, I'm going to forgive this person, but I'm going to hate this person for the rest of the month. You're going to forgive. Let it be across the board. You will find that that will be definitely to your advantage, to transcend things, to kind of, create a sense of balance about things. And again, but I'm telling you, for some of us out here, especially, it's not always hard to say, well, I'll forgive you. Sometimes we'll hold on to a grudge forever. But psychologically and biologically, that has a devastating effect on the body temple too. So you need to understand that. Now, however, the good news is in the first week from the 3rd and the 4th, the moon is going to be in your sign. And actually, the first week, Virgo, is going to allow you to kind of self-start things, to get the ball rolling, to kind of put the key in the ignition and get yourself moving along the way you want to be. In the second week, it simply means to just take it easy, because I'm looking at a Mars-Moon conflict during that period of the 8th through the 14th. So things might be kind of at odds. On one hand, you want to be nice, and on the other hand, you ain't taking no prisoners from nobody. And the fact that Mercury also governs your sign, Virgo, which is retrograde, may not help your case either. So keep these things in mind right now. As you go into the third week from the 15th to the 21st, well, you'll find that on the 17th and the 18th, the moon is going to be sitting in your stress sign of Pisces anyway. So it's only going to exacerbate the situation you might be going through if you're not careful. And it also means in that week, since you be in a Jupiter week, not to overextend yourself, not to take things over and above what you normally do, but to kind of like go kind of imitate your next door sign of Libra. Keep that balance going. Too much of and too less of is not as good, but kind of keep a balance. And also, you got to be careful, since the moon is going to be in your stress sign during that period of the third week, to not let people misuse your name and your reputation for their own purposes at the expense of your situation. Now, as you go into the final week, you will have to put in the work. You'll be in what is called a Mars, Uranus kind of situation. So you can expect some unexpected happenings going on. But at the same time, you'll find it on the 30th and the 31st, the last 2 days of this month of March, the moon will be sitting in your sign. You'll be at a Mercury retrograde. Your planet, the government, your sign will be back to normal, and you should be more than pleased with the result. But the point is, don't forget, forgiveness is going to be the key throughout the month. Now, who is going to help you? It will be Scorpios and Aries and Leos, or anyone born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. Now, the color to wear for you this month is rosewood, Virgo, and the stone or crystal to wear or carry over and above shungite is sardonyx. Okay, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Sardonyx, okay? Good. Now, for the Librans in the house, okay? Now we're at you. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Libra, your theme this month is about some clarity, to have some sense of direction, to have some situational awareness of what is going on around you. That is going to be one of the things. To kind of see things not through foggy lens, but have your lens that are clear, unobstructed, so you can see your way through any situation you go through. And it's going to be an eye-opening too. And because the sun is going to be sitting in your sign this particular month, it's going to allow you to be a self-starter. And this is going to jump right out the gate, because on the 5th and the 6th, the moon is going to be sitting in your sign. And so if you feel kind of antsy, you feel kind of motivated and self-projected to get things going, that makes all the sense in the world. And so it simply means just be patient on one hand, because Mercury's retrograde, but at the same time, just kind of, if you do it with a sense of strategy, purpose, and direction, but more importantly, some clarity to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. In the second week, from the 8th through the 14th, that's when patience is also going to be exercised. You'll be in a sun, moon situation, which is kind of good. It strikes that balance. In one hand, assertiveness, but on the other hand, having that balance to you. Because it's actually not saying correctly, because in the week of the 8th through the 14th, that's when you're going to be in a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. So these are aspects that are going to be very nice. It's going to enhance your reputation. It's going to take things to another level in terms of your outreach, your contacts, and hopefully your blessings in terms of your bank account, or whatever the case is, your assets, call it what you will. It's going to be in that third week, though, from the 15th through the 21st, that's going to be a week that says, now we got to sit tight. Now we got to put some boundaries and restrictions on this puppy, okay? And especially since the moon is going to be in your opposition sign of Aries on the 19th and the 20th of the month. So it bodes you to kind of like take it easy, make sure you put all your ducks in a row, and don't make sure you dot those I's and cross those T's, and make sure that if you get paid that week, definitely pay yourself first. I don't care what nobody says. I mean, listen, if the Con Ed people in New York City, we call it Con Edison, in other parts of the country, they call it other, but it's energy company. If they don't get your money right then and there, they're not going to go out of business. Okay? So keep that in mind. And it's not that you're to be derelict or neglectful, but understand that, yes, it's nice to pay your bills in a timely fashion. But if you can't do it that week with the opposition sign and the moon is still in opposition in Mercury retrograde, I mean, the Mercury is still going to be in opposition. It simply means to just make sure you take care of yourself first. Make sure you put some money in your piggy bank, okay? That's the most important part. Now, in the last week, it allows you to do some traveling. It allows you to really change gears, to shift those gears. So if any of you have drive manual cars and you know how you shift from first to second to third at a race, or whatever it is, that's the time that's going to really get you started. And it's going to be very good in terms of opportunities. So you'll be in what is called a Sun-Mercury week. And not only that, Mercury will be direct on the 20th of March. So if you do plan to do some traveling, that will be an ideal time to kind of go somewhere for the weekend and take a break for yourself and things of that nature. Now, who is likely to help you during the week of March, Libra, will be Leos, Aquarius, Aries, or anyone born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. Now, the color to wear, believe it or not, for you, Libra, is mango. Don't that sound nice? Okay. Not only that, but the stone or crystal to wear or carry over and above shungite should be sunstone. Okay. Now, for Scorpios. Okay. Here we go. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Scorpio, your theme this month is about precision, to be exact, to be on point, to be where everything is in order, that there's no question, there's no wiggle room for any loose things. Everything is in order. Everything is with precision. You know, if you've ever seen soldiers march, okay, they're all marching left, right, left, in precision. That is how you're going to have to march or roll this particular month, Scorpio, okay? So you happen to be, through no fault of your own, in a Uranus month. So that means you got the only thing you can expect is the unexpected. That's for sure. Okay. And once you understand that, and especially in that first week, you'll be in a Uranus Mercury week. So there are going to be some changes, but not the kind of changes you plan. You might think you're going to go this way, and Uranus is going to say, hold it. And not only that, the first week is governed by Mercury itself, which is actually retrograde. So although the 7th, 8th, and 9th is going to be good with the moon in your sign, I would not make that gospel. I wouldn't take that to the bank, because with Uranus being the planet of the unexpected this month for you, and the Mercury week that you're in tells anything can go. So this is what you call even the best laid plans go astray. All right. Now, the kicker is going to be really that second week when you have a Uranus-Venus opposition to you. And that's going to change the whole flavor. You're going to say, what is going on? So if you might think some things are happening with some solidity in that second week, dealing with home, family, resources, monies, and things like that, you can expect anything. And again, because Mercury is in retrograde, I know y'all keep saying, why does Lloyd keep saying Mercury retrograde? Or because it is. And I'm not going to leave out any sign to make sure that whatever you're doing, just be aware of it. So you move slowly. You move with a kind of a sense of direction, a sense of idea where you're going, and not just jump into things. Rather to make sure that things is planned out as much as possible. But so I would say in that week of the second week of the 8th through the 14th, you're going to have to make some serious adjustments. As you go into the third week, it's going to be reflective. It's going to be a kind of Uranus-Neptune kind of situation. So things may appear to be a little dreamy for you, where you might not be in touch with reality, where you might think it's one thing and your mind is thinking of another thing, and the reality is saying that's not the deal. And then with Mercury being in retrograde, that's not going to help you either. And especially when the moon is in your opposition sign on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of the month. But the nice thing is on the 20th, Mercury will end its retrograde, but it still will have the shadow effect covering you for the next couple of days. Now, as you go into the last week of March, for you, Scorpio, that's going to be a Uranus-Saturn relationship. So that's going to be kind of crazy too. So you can kind of expect anything. But if it's harmonious, you should do very well. But if there's a conflict or afflicted, as they say, astrologically speaking, that means that things that you're thinking about your finances can all of a sudden disappear. One minute you will have something, by the time the month is over, you will have practically nothing. Now, who is likely to be of help to you during this month of March, Scorpio, is Aquarius. That's me, thank you. Leos, Geminis, or anybody born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. All righty? And the color that you should wear should be dark gray, and the stone or crystal to wear or carry over and above shungite should be hematite, okay? That would be it for you. Now, let's go to Sagittarius. If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Sagittarius, you know what it is? It's about awareness. It's about the power of observation, to pay close attention, okay? Now, Sagittarians, because it is ruled by Jupiter, which rules a quickness and a swiftness of things, you will actually be in what is called a Neptune kind of month. That's the kind of month you're in. Dreamy, kind of delusional, all depending on how things are happening, and especially with this Mercury retrograde. And Mercury, and don't forget, Mercury governs your opposition sign of Jupiter. The opposition planet to Jupiter, your rulership, is Mercury, which is what we're in right now. So it simply means to kind of like not get too overextended, not let imagination get the best of you, especially in the first week that affects your finances and affect your relationship and affect people from your past. You have to be a little mindful of these things, okay? That's going to be very, very important. And as you go into the second week, you'll be in a Neptune-Mars configuration, and you'll find that on the 10th and the 11th, the moon will be in your sign. So in that case, in that way, you'll get a break. But don't forget, for all Sagittarians, that this is a period now with Mercury retrograde being your direct oppositional planet, that you might just kind of like not overextend yourself too much. And it does denote a sense of finality because of that Neptune-Mars configuration during that second week. Now, as you go into the third week, you'll be entering what is called a Neptune-Sun configuration, which is a little bit more friendlier to you. And as we get closer to the 20th, Mercury, the influence of Mercury retrograde will begin to lose its effect. And it will begin, you'll get more breathing space, I should say. But not only that, but if you want to kind of be proactive and start something new or get something new underway, that's going to be the best week to do so right then and there. Now, as you go into the closing month of the 22nd to the end of the month, you will be in what is called a Neptune moon configuration. So your hunches should be really, really sharp. Now, normally, Sagittarius, you're ruled by fire. But yet the element affecting you that month, this whole month, is about water, adding more awareness, and the moon indicating during that week, denoting, I should say, more receptivity, okay? And not only that, it doesn't help with the fact that the moon is going to be in your direct opposition sign of Gemini on the 25th and the 24th and 25th. So it means have no illusions about what is happening. It simply means also take your time, because the psyche you're in, especially in that moon week, will be, you got to go slow, you got to be patient. And with the moon being in, you sitting in your opposition sign, you might be in a rush because, Sagittarius is quick in thought, quick in action, somewhat like its counterpart of Gemini. But this week, that particular week, you're going to have to exercise some patience. Now, the color that you should wear, Sagittarius, for the month of March is lilac. And the stone or crystal you should wear or carry over and above shungite is amethyst, okay? Now, Capricorn, all righty? If your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Capricorn, your theme this month is about optimism, enthusiasm. Let it be contagious. Let it rub off on people. When you get it, Capricorns are very serious-minded. They know nonsense. They ain't having it, okay? They can be straight no chaser with the things like that and keep it real. Well, this particular month for you, Capricorn, says to take it easy because you'll be in a Jupiter month. And so what's going to happen is you'll be in a Jupiter month, but in a Uranus week. So to be a Jupiter-Uranus kind of contradicting. On one hand, you want to be out and about, but in the first week, you're going to want to have space yourself. And you're going to be asking yourself, what do I call myself doing? But don't forget, be optimistic all the way, because that's the thing. It's about optimism. Do not let any negativities, any pitfalls, any blockages block your blessings in terms of keeping that attitude about and be enthusiastic. You know how when you want something, you really enthusiastic, you can't wait to get your hands on it. That's the attitude you need to maintain, especially during that first week. Now, as you go into the second week of the 8th through the 14th, now you're entering what is called a Jupiter-Mercury situation. And Jupiter and Mercury are kind of oppositional planets. But the irony is the moon will be sitting in your sign on the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. So in that way, that's good for you. And it's going to allow you to make a change. It's going to allow you to kind of shift gears and shift positions to kind of make more moves with more freedom and flexibility, to weave and move with the kind of flexibility you want. That's going to be nice. However, whatever things, gifts, skills, talents, and abilities you got, try to promote it to the hilt, since the moon will be favoring you during that 3-day period. As you go into the third week, that's going to be about the best one, because that's going to be a Jupiter-Venus configuration, all right? And so it means that, you might be looking your best, smelling your best, dressing your best, all those kind of things. Be on your best behavior. Not only that, Mercury's going to be ending its retrograde influence. It's going to allow you to get your message across, allow you to get that optimism across, allow you to be enthusiastic as you convey whatever it is. You're going to be quite charming, by the way. So, and it's about money and financing that week too. So that should be very, very interesting. However, to keep it real, putting the brakes on things, in the last week, you'll be in what is called a Jupiter-Neptune configuration. So on one hand, there'll be that optimism where you're very determined to be very focused on things. And yet at the same time, you're going to have you shouldn't let illusions or delusions kind of throw you off your game, because on the 26th and the 27th, the moon will be in your direct opposition sign of Cancer. So it means that you end the month kind of like, okay, take it easy, make sure you understanding why you're doing what you're doing, and things should work out well for you. Now, the signs that are going to be helping you will be Pisces and Sagittarians, or anybody born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month. And the color to wear is fuchsia. Okay, I know y'all know about it. Now, the stone or crystal to wear or carry over and above Shungai is apatite. Apatite. That's Apatite. All righty. And saving the best for last, that's me, Aquarius. So if your sun, moon, or ascendant is in the sign of Aquarius, boy, you're going to love this, Aquarius. Your theme is power moves, achievement, doing things on a grand scale, reaching that level of maturity to accomplish anything you set your mind to is going to be huge. In fact, the whole month is going to be influenced by the planet of Saturn, which is a legacy planet, the planet of history and discovery and ancient things of that nature. So exercise that sense of wisdom about it, to not just power moves just for the power, just to be just kind of being intoxicated with it, but to know that you're making the power moves that serves humanity, because Aquarius is a humanitarian sign, to do the best that you can. So what's going to happen in the very first week, the first 2 days especially, there's likely to be conflict, because there's going to be a Saturn-Mars conflict, all right? So when Saturn-Mars is in conflict, and especially in that week, that means you being very careful of arguments, confrontations, accidents, injuries, nicks, cuts, burns, bruises, breaks, fender benders. Just it's not that you can't get past those first 2 days. It just means take your sweet time, because Saturn is always the influence about teaching you lessons. Mars, which is governing that first week, is going to be about energy and forcefulness and assertiveness, but it means to do it in concert with kind of keeping things within limits. Okay. Now, as you go into the second week, that's going to be a Saturn Sun configuration. So it's going to allow you to really take the lead in a way that's going to bring about some major moves, some moves that take you to the next level in terms of your career, your position, your outlook, and things of that nature. And you'll find that things should be going pretty good for you during that week of the 8th to the 14th. Now, as you go into the second week, it's going to be kind of conflictual, because you'll be in what is called a Saturn-Moon opposition. Yet the moon will be in your sign on the 15th and the 16th. So it simply means that, and because it deals with the feminine principle, to the men, it deals with the women. To the women, it means it deals with the men. But it means that, yes, it is good for dealing with them, but because there's going to be that Saturn-Moon kind of opposition during that third week, it just means just to be, and don't forget, we'll still be in Mercury Retrograde. So it's about taking your time about how you jump into things. Don't always rush into agreements and partnerships and, yeah, come on, join this group, and make sure, because, people have motives. They're keeping everything real. So you want to make sure you don't get caught up into what they call the crisscross, because your whole theme is about making some power moves that take you to the next level. Now, I got to be honest, as you go into the last week, you're going to be into a Saturn-Jupiter relationship. Now, these are two planets that work well. However, the stars are not going to be working that well, because the moon is going to be sitting in your opposition sign on the 28th and 29th. So it means be careful not to overextend yourself. Be careful not to, commit yourself to things that you can't follow through. But you do so with the thing of what is the consequence in terms of leaving a legacy? What does this mean having to, because of what you do, the impact that it will have not only now in the present, but up the road in the future or the near future? So these things are going to be very important. Now, who is likely to be of help to you during this month of March? Aquarius will be Capricorns themselves, Aquarians next, Librans, and anybody born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th of the month. Now, the color to wear is dark navy blue. And the stone or crystal to wear or carry over and above Shungai should be Moldavite. 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 See, I'm coming up with some new crystals. I'm doing the best I can, all right? Moldavite. Molvadite. So with that, I think we have then completed the whole circle of the zodiac from Pisces to Aquarius.
Awesome. Awesome. I just wanted to show you. Hold on. I don't know if I should touch it or not, but
Give it a try.
uh, I have a piece of moldavite here.
Are you serious?
Yes, I do.
Let me see.
Yeah, but it's a crystal that has a strange type of energy to it. They say it comes from outer space, but I don't know all
Well,
about
listen, we Aquarians are known to be out of space, so that's perfect for
that.
me. Okay.
Yeah, so here we go. This is you can only get small pieces because they're not available um that much, but that's my piece of
Whoa,
moldavite.
that's
Yeah,
nice, Kimberly. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I said, let me come up with some of these things here, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Th-
Okay. I'm going
Thank
to give
you
me
so
some more back
much
here.
for giving us our forecast. Another month,
And
another
if you notice,
forecast.
I've added another element, adding the
I
planetary
like that.
interaction. Do you see
I
what I'm
like
saying?
that.
That adds more color and flavor to our description. We always a work in progress when we do these
You
things.
know what? I thought you just showed out in February. I see it's all the time now.
I'm doing the best I can, young lady. That's all I can say.
But thank you so much for sharing the forecast with us and letting us know what we can expect in the month of March. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm ready for adventure.
Yeah, I am too. Yes, and it is. And as long as you know that Mercury is going to be out of sorts, and here's the thing to tip off too. Mercury rules communications in all of its form, movements, appointments, and commitments and contracts and things of that nature, gadgets and gizmos, phones, cars, computers, technology, and especially where appointments are concerned. So let's say a person is going for an interview and they know tops they can be there in 30 minutes. You should add about 10 to 15 minutes to that. Okay. Just in case there's an accident or just in case there's something that delays you. All right. And I tell my clients, I'd rather you get there early and you're calm than you get there late and you're sweating and you perspire and you know you're late. You know what they call it when you're late and wrong. So it's those kinds of things to happen. So for all of you, make sure that you don't say, well, you know what I mean. Be very clear about what you're doing up until the 20th. This is very important. Well, you know what I mean. No, I don't know what you mean. This is when people get into the most silliest of arguments and they're trying to figure out what the hell they're arguing about. Okay. It was much to do about nothing, as Shakespeare once said. So it's one of those kinds of things. But over and above that, but see, this is where knowledge is power. It's a difference if you don't know, but now you know. So again, as I said at the top of this interview, it can't be said we did not have this conversation. And this
That's
is why
right.
the influence of Mercury retrograde into all the signs, so no one is left out. So everybody has a sense of how they're going to go, how they need to roll, how they need to move.
And you're right. Knowledge is power, and we can see in this day and time, it's especially important to have a skill or skills with the movement of AI and how things are going now. I told you all how AI was going to be, and it's like things are developing so fast, and so. What I was watching today was so interesting. There was so many people talking about how they lost their jobs due
Hmm.
to AI. But what we have to do is we have to focus on skills that AI can't, just come in and take over. And one of those careers that they said would do well during this time are consultants.
Hmm.
And so I
Hmm.
think it's
Hmm.
very important for people to start tapping into that. And as you can see, from the fact that so many people come back to see this forecast every month, and in the comment sections they tell us, how these things are aligning in their life and how things are going in their life. This information is transformational to so many people, and I want people to know you don't have to just listen to us. You can learn this for yourself and help transform the lives of others. And there's no better time than now. We're in the 4 month. This is about strategy. This is about making sure that you're building a foundation. And it's about learning something new. So make sure that you tap into this very special program that we have coming, and it's only for a few select people. And
Hmm.
that's the Astro-Numerology Practitioner program. Do you want to say a few words about that,
Yes, I
Lloyd?
was going to say, to be a consultant, we are creating, you and I, Kimbaley and Lloyd, Lloyd and Kimbaley, however you want to say it, we are forming a kind of consultancy. We are going to establish a certified astronumerology practitioner level 1. Okay. And let me give you my experience. I did my show last Wednesday. Every Monday and Wednesday, I have a show on YouTube called Numbers in You. The show is actually, I call it When I'm On Live with Lloyd. But the point is this, I was talking about skill sets, and they were talking about people are losing their jobs, white collar jobs. I'm not talking about factory people. I'm talking about white collar jobs, people that's getting paid fabulous money. They're now out of work. And they says that, yes, it's nice to have a 401k. It's nice to have precious metals. It's nice to have land or property. But suppose you don't have that. One of the most silent things they rarely talk about is developing a skill. A skill is an art form. And what Kimberly and I are going to be doing is actually beginning in April. And everybody can't do this. We are just trying to get the best of the best who are sincerely. I got a notice from somebody. I got a schedule. She says she loves numerology. She sounds like a perfect candidate once I speak to her on next week. But the point is, Kimberly and I, are developing a certified astronumerology practitioner level 1. It is not for students. It's not for the curious. It's not for quickies. This is way, and I will give you a perfect example. I was at a radio station here in New York on WBLS, WLIB for 20 years. In 1 year, everybody was laid off and everybody was struggling to go to work at another radio station. The irony is the radio stations across the board in New York was laying everybody off. So people was hard pressed. But because I had developed this skill as a astronumerologist, that saved the day. That kept me above water. And I'm saying that, okay, so you might have your own skills, but develop a skill over and above that. And this is what Kimberly and I is going to bring to the table. I'm going to bring that part. And then not only that, she's going to bring the more business aspect. So once you are learning how to be a certified practitioner, astronumerologist practitioner level 1, then she's going to show you how to turn it into a business. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. That's all I can say. And so what we want you to do is really, there's going to be a questionnaire because we're going to be qualified. It can't be for everybody. And we're not going to have a ton of people. It's going to be very exclusive. It's not going to be elite, but it will be exclusive. It ain't going to be for everybody, but for those who are very serious and who's not afraid to put skin in the game in terms of time, resources, effort, and energy, and want to be the best of the best. It's going to be for you.
I don't know about you, but I value my freedom, you
Me
know?
too. Me
And
too.
especially during this time, like you said, so many people getting laid off, especially from those good old government jobs that everybody was so highly relying upon. Now, during these days, it's just no guarantee. So to me, my freedom means everything. Being able to
Hmm.
get up, having my own schedule, being able to do exactly what I want to. You don't have to go and put in for vacation time or,
No,
sick
no, you work
time
at
or
your pace. Yeah.
no, no,
But
no.
see, that's one of the advantages when you develop a skill. Now, we're not saying everybody's got to be a certified astronumerologist practitioner. It's not the point. The point is to develop a skill. We would prefer you do it with us because y'all love what we do. We've been doing this for the 27th consecutive month without a lapse, and y'all seem to enjoy it. It's growing. And what we want to do is share with some of you, only for the interested, only for the sincere. We don't want everybody. Believe me, we don't. We want only those that are very serious and in earnest of taking their lives to the next level and developing a skill set. I can go all over this planet with what I know. Okay.
Excuse me? You have been.
You know what? You ain't lying. I forgot. My student courses are in over about 200 countries.
Yes, yes, and if you are interested
I
in
forgot about that. Thank you
if
for
you don't
reminding me.
wanna
I
take
forgot them
that
all over the
step,
place.
yeah, you've been all over the place. If you don't wanna take the step to become a practitioner, but you just wanna know this to align your own life, your personal life, day to day, then or your family members or those people that you come in contact with that you don't know too much about, all you gotta have is their birthday or their
Yeah,
name. But
yeah.
make sure you check out, Lloyd's online, Udemy courses because those are for people who are just wanting to learn for themselves. But if you're the practitioner, then make sure you check us out and apply for that program. And, we forgot to say this earlier, but I love it when you all comment and let me know what your
Oh,
zodiac
yeah,
sign
yeah,
is and
yeah.
how was your February. I want to know how everybody's February was. So make sure you let us know about that and stay tuned for the business astronumerology forecast that'll be coming up this week. Coming up.
Now,
Make
excuse
sure
me,
that you
didn't you just write a book a couple of months ago?
The business of numerology. Yeah,
Available
that's
on
my
Amazon,
baby.
right?
Huh?
It's
Yeah, that's
available
on
on Amazon,
Amazon. They
right?
can purchase that book on Amazon,
Okay, The
and you can
Business
also
of
purchase
Numerology.
the ebook on my website at kimbaley.com.
How's the
At
Kimberly spelled, please? I'm glad you
KIMBALEY.com.
told me because I was going to spell it
It's
another
on
way.
the screen. I'm not worried. You got me covered. You got me covered.
That's funny.
You
And you
got
know,
me.
and people comment how well we do. Although we're great distances apart, the synergy of what we do is it works very nice, and people seem to enjoy it, and we enjoy it too. And let me tell you this: the growth of our monthly forecast relates to the input that you've given us. It
Yes.
really does. You'll have no clue how important your input has done to our growth, and that you'll enjoy it even more. So please put in the comments, suggestions, criticism. That makes us grow because we want to be doing this for the next, well, I ain't going to say 100 years because the world may not be here in 100 years, but we want to do this a little bit longer than what's been going on.
And I have to say it's unique. It's different. You don't get this everywhere.
Mm-mm,
You don't
mm-mm,
get this everywhere. It's unique. Oh no, you will never get this anywhere.
no.
So, well, I won't say never because
No, there
maybe
will be.
somebody that's want to join the practitioners program will come up with another unique way to do it. So what you
Yeah,
think?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I think if people, again, whether you come with join us and develop a skill set as a certified astronumerologist practitioner level one, the point that Kimberly and I are saying, develop a skill. Because in light of so many people being laid off with this whole introduction of AI, and I'm talking about white collar jobs, I mean people that's getting paid fabulous money. It is best to have a skill set. And for those that don't have a skill set, I got to be honest, you're going to be in a world of trouble. But what Kimberly and I do, you'll be around for a long time. Trust me, this ain't going nowhere. AI cannot replace this. Believe me, it can't.
And if you do decide that you want to utilize your skill set and go into business for yourself, make sure that you get in contact with me because we want to make sure that that business is aligned so that you can go in successful and you can continue in your business with alignment or through alignment so that you can get the best results possible. So you can check me
See,
out on kimbaley.com, KIMBALEY.com, and we can set up a little something so that you can definitely um, plan your business success.
I would like to add to that when you go to Kimberly.com, she has a new feature that she's added called a calculator. So go there and click the calculator. You put in your birthday, your name, your birthday. And if you have a business, put in the name and the birthday of the business too, and it will calculate. It's the most fascinating thing. I mean, I got so jealous I had to copy her. I got a calculator too.
I
Mine
was
ain't about
gonna say you
business.
always blaming me, and you always blaming me. Check out Lloyd's calculator. You should see his.
Yeah, but yours is about business too, but you're a business person, so that makes sense as a I mean, she's really
Check
carving her
out
own
both
niche.
of them. You
Yeah,
can
check out
come to
both,
me.
okay?
You can find out the
And all
information
you gotta
about
do is put a dash between Lloyd Strayhorn, Lloyd-Strayhorn.com.
you.
And I'm right there. Okay. Thank you. And by the way, for those of you, I developed a numerology app called a Star 8, ASTAR, the number 8. You can get it on iOS. You can get it on Android. Download it on your phone. It's called a Star 8, ASTAR, the number 8. And you can schedule appointments with me at Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. You can schedule appointments with Kimbaley at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com too. So we provide all these things, but what we value more than most is your input. It is you that has really led to the success of what we do. We only started this out just as a couple of months. Very
Yes.
little did we have any idea that we would do this every month. And if somebody would make a suggestion, we say, okay, let's add that and let's add that. And now we're here. And we just added another component. If you listen to us, you'll see I've added another component that's now going to be a regular feature as part of our readings each month.
And you can get this in written form in the
Oh, yeah, the
newsletter
newsletter.
at
Yeah,
lloyd-strayhorn.com, and you can get the business written form and newsletter at kimberly.com. And on another note, I just want to say to everyone who's doing any traveling, especially internationally, be careful. Be careful, especially during this Mercury retrograde. But there's so much going on globally at this point. I heard in Mexico some people got trapped over there for a little while, but you never know how things are going to happen. So whenever you travel, especially internationally, make sure that you're on your P's and Q's.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I do want to thank everybody very much. Thank you for the consistency and the support you've given Miss Kimberly and I. And it's been very invaluable, and we really, really honor and respect what input you give us, and that's how we grow. And we just want to be the best at what we do for you.
Okay, happy birthday, Pisces.
Yeah, all the Pisces in the house. Yay. Have fun.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in April.
See you in April. Bye now.
Bye.